Amelia had been looking forward to her birthday for weeks. Not because she expected gifts or grand gestures, but because this year, she wanted one simple thing: her family's attention. For as long as she could remember, she had lived in the shadow of her older brother, Daniel. He was the golden child. The one who always excelled in school, the one who got praised at family gatherings, the one whose name people remembered first when they spoke of the family. Amelia had grown accustomed to being second, but on her birthday, she hoped things would be different. She had decorated the dining table herself the night before. Pastel balloons tied to chairs, a little homemade banner that read "Happy Birthday, Amelia" in colorful letters. She baked her own cake too, a chocolate fudge layered with strawberries, her favorite since childhood. Her heart was set on the idea that when the clock struck 7 that evening, her parents, her grandparents, and Daniel would all gather around, singing for her, celebrating her existence. Just once, she wanted to feel like the center of their world. But by noon her mother's phone rang. Amelia overheard the excitement in her mom's voice before she even understood the words. "Oh really? That's amazing, Daniel. We're so proud of you." Her chest tightened. Something had happened. Something that would change everything. Her brother had won a major academic award at university. The kind that came with recognition, scholarships, and a dinner ceremony that very evening. Her parents immediately sprang into planning mode. Her dad began ironing his suit. Her mom rushed upstairs to find a dress. Even her grandmother clapped her hands in delight, exclaiming how this would be such a story to tell the neighbors. And Amelia? She sat quietly at the dining table, staring at the little cake she'd baked, the happy birthday banner still swaying lightly in the draft from the open window. At first, she thought maybe they would go to Daniel's event and return early, cutting her cake afterward. But her mother made it clear. "Darling, we can't miss this. It's such an important evening for Daniel. You understand, don't you? We'll celebrate yours tomorrow." Tomorrow. That word struck like a cold knife. Tomorrow wasn't her birthday. Tomorrow would mean nothing. She nodded silently, but inside, she was breaking. By evening, the house was buzzing with activity, just not for her. Daniel came downstairs in a perfectly pressed suit, looking every bit the prodigy his parents adored. Everyone fussed over him, fixing his tie, complimenting his shoes, snapping pictures to post online. Not a single glance at the girl who sat in her hoodie, her birthday cake waiting untouched on the table. "Amelia, be a dear and tidy up before you go to bed," her grandmother said on their way out the door. As if she were the maid, not the birthday girl. And then they were gone. The silence that followed was deafening. Amelia looked around the empty living room, the echo of her family's laughter still lingering. She turned to the cake, the candles she had carefully placed on top. For a long time, she stared at them, her throat tightening, tears brimming. Her hands trembled as she lit the candles, one by one. The glow filled the room with a soft warmth that contrasted sharply with the cold emptiness inside her chest. "Happy birthday to me," she whispered, her voice breaking halfway. She sang the whole song alone, her tone wobbly and raw, but she forced herself through it. When she blew out the candles, the room went dark again, and her tears finally fell, streaking down her cheeks onto the tablecloth. She cut herself a slice, small and neat, as though she expected someone to appear and share it with her. But no one came. With every bite, she felt the loneliness deepen, not because she was physically alone, but because she finally understood how invisible she had become to the people she loved most. As the night wore on, Amelia curled up on the couch with her slice of cake, staring at the flickering lights of her birthday banner, until sleep overtook her. When her family returned past midnight, she heard their cheerful voices through her haze of half-sleep. They carried on about Daniel's big win, the important people they met, the compliments they received for having such a brilliant son. Not a single word about Amelia's day. Not a single glance at the half-eaten cake on the table. In that moment, Amelia made a silent promise to herself. One day, she would no longer wait for them to notice her. She would build her own world, her own celebrations, her own victories. And when that day came, she wouldn't need candles or balloons or even their presence. She would finally understand that her worth was never tied to whether or not her family chose her. But that night, on her birthday, she was just a girl who blew out candles alone.